So a lot of times in a sales process, reps often think that their success is a matter of product knowledge. If I just know everything about my product and I say it in an interesting and compelling way, the customers will buy. They'll be hypnotized and they're going to love my solution. And while that is valuable, while you do need product knowledge and you do need to be able to explain it in a compelling way, if that's how you start your sales calls, you will fail. Because frankly, at the beginning of the sales call, your company, your product are of no interest. They're worthless. They're not the most important thing. What is important is understanding your customer and what their pain is. And until you understand that fully, there's really not a whole lot of value in talking about your product. You're mostly just blathering along for your own amusement. So one of the ways to think about this is that in a sales process, you have three objectives. Objective number one is empathize. Understand your customer. And that's not just to pay it lip service. They need to feel understood. So you really need to ask good questions and listen, much like a doctor. You want to think about this as a little bit like a diagnostic. If you went into the doctor's office and they didn't ask you any questions, they just handed you a pill or told you to sign up for open heart surgery, you'd be like, wait, no, I'm not doing that. You're an idiot. You don't know anything about me. You don't know what's going on. Sales process is the same way. If you come charging in there talking about your product and how awesome it is, it's going to help you. Same thing. It's like handing somebody a pill. You're a quack. You're a sales quack. So you don't want to do that. You want to get in there and do a diagnostic, a careful, thoughtful diagnostic up front that will then allow you to make a very targeted and appropriate recommendation for that solution and communicate the things that are going to be relevant to your customer with the solution. Your solution does a lot of things, most of which your customer will not care about in the slightest. There will be a couple things, 2, 3, 4 things maybe that are really critical, but you have to ask questions to understand what they are. So that first step is empathizing. And then the second step, which we will get to, is educating the customer. Once you've established that empathy, you understand them and they feel understood, then you can go about educating them on your product. And then finally, the third is enabling, helping them get the order done. But we'll get to that at a later point. But this empathy stage is really critical. And one of the things that I think is often helpful is to understand what their current situation is and what their priorities are and what caused them to get into that. So, for example, in our insurance circumstance here, they might already have insurance. They probably do because they have state minimum coverage. It's legally required. Maybe they have something more than that. But it's helpful to know, you signed up with ABC Insurance. What do you like about it? What caused you to sign up with them initially? Not in a confrontational, attacking kind of way. They're kind of expecting you to say, that's a stupid company. And if you do that, you're kind of saying in parentheses, you were an idiot to choose them. And you don't want to do that. That is going to offend your customer, and that's a bad way to start. So what do you like about it? Great. I don't know a whole lot about them. I know customers use it, but tell me what you like. And they may come back. They may say, well, there's nothing I like. That's why I'm here. Or they may say, well, I like it's been cheap. I haven't really had to do, I don't have to do a lot. It's just been there. It's got my legal requirement covered. That's it. I didn't have to think about it a lot. I liked that. Okay, that's fine. Remember all those things. Take notes. You're going to want to write those down because you're going to use those later. Then you might turn it, but they're not expecting that. They thought you were going to attack, and suddenly it seems like, wow, they're kind of validating this. I don't understand. But you're getting them to think about it. You're getting them to think about what their experience was, what their customer experience was like. And then you say, what would you like to be different in your new insurance? What would you like to change? And I'd like to make sure that the price is effective. I want to make sure that I'm, protecting everything that I've got, that I'm, that this is good coverage. I get good service, good company that will pay their damages if I need that, whatever. Those are those two things. That what did you like and what would you change is a little bit of your punch list of what you need to do to sell, because what you want to come back to is presenting the solution that you brought to the table in those terms. Let me show you how this is going to give you all the things that you were looking for in new insurance while minimizing or avoiding all the things you hated previously. And that shows right there there's an alignment with what their priorities are not yours, not some other customers. What is most relevant to them? Now, if they don't bring up all these things that they in the right way, and maybe they said, I don't know, it's just cheap coverage. I don't really know anything about insurance. I don't know what I'm looking for. You're going to hear that sometimes, and that's okay. And then you might want to say, well, a lot of our customers that one of the reasons we hear most often why they've switched to us is because we do this really well, we do that really well, and they really like this. Are those things important to you? Do those make sense? And is that appealing? If it is, great. Then you maybe want to present that when you get to your solution. If it's not important to them, you need to keep asking questions because there's no point in selling them something they're not interested in. So either you need to find out something that they're interested in, or find out an outcome that they're trying to get to and connect the dots. If they're trying to save money, if they're trying to be protected, if they don't really know how to get there, show them how your insurance will get them to that ending conclusion. And once you've got that understanding done and they feel understood, then you can come back around and start presenting your solution to them. One of the things to remember is that if you get to the ending of your initial session with somebody where you're going through these questions, and at the end of that scenario, they don't know anything about State Farm, they can't tell you what collision and comprehensive, they don't know, that's okay, thumbs up, good job. If you know everything about them, what is their pain, what do they need out of insurance, what are their decision criteria, how are they going to make the decision, who's involved, all these things that get into their qualification and their needs and their ability to act on it. That is the most important thing that you want to establish. So coming up with a comfortable, natural questioning strategy to figure out what do they need, how are they going to make the decision, can they make the decision? That's all important. And then when you come back around and you start selling your solution and presenting it, you can tie back into those things. And when we were talking initially, you said one of the things that you really frustrated you with your old insurance was this. Here's how we've handled it. Here's what a lot of our customers felt that same way. What they found was with our new solution, we avoid that problem. They don't have that same issue. Or you said that it was really critical to have this benefit. You wanted your insurance to work in such and such a way. Based on what I've shown you, did we meet that standard? Are you satisfied that we would address that concern or that priority for you? That little trial close there is your way of knowing whether you can tick off that box that you've kind of proven your point that you can address their problem, or if you still have work to do, if there's still a little bit of explanation needed to get them to the point where they're ready to act. So that is really one of the things. Before you get into that solution presentation, make sure you've done a good job of understanding what all their needs are and their priorities. And then as you're presenting your solution, tie it back to that. Make it relevant to them. Don't expect them to figure it out. Show them where your solution meets the requirements. Confirm for them in their own mind that they see it that way and that they agree with you. If you've done that, then you will be in a very easy position to close at the end, because you would say, when we started, you told me these things were priorities based on what we've talked about previously. We're able to address those to your satisfaction. So with that in mind, can we go ahead and get you started? You earn the right to ask that question at that point, but that's because you've really understood them and then you've educated them on your solution to how to bring that together. So anyway, that's just kind of a quick view on solution presentation and qualification, but those two things are really critical, and you just want to make sure that you do the qualification and questioning part, understanding their needs, before you really jump in and do a lot of explanation about product.